Damn. Listen to us, man. Listen to us today. Yo, whatever happened to us last night, everybody just forget about that. Don't you worry about that. We're going to sweep that right under the rug. You'll never see it again. You'll never see us act that way and say those things again.
Gotta admit, I was kind of under the influence of a certain medicinal leaf, and we may have done too much.
Tone says the internet is forever, and you might be right. And you just might be right.
Until it's not.
Until it's not. How's everybody doing out there? We know it's hardware jams. A lot of people aren't here. We're just going to push right past that. Sometimes we just got to reach some of these people here in the lovely States, and the only way to do that is just to change up your time and see what works. You know, it's like fishing. YouTube's algorithm is like fishing. You just don't know what you're going to catch. Every day is it's a mystery. You throw your pole out there, you don't know what the hell it is you're going to catch. I guess that's why they call it fishing and not catching, right? You're only catching when you get a bite. I know fishing has its purpose. You know, it's to, put food on a man's table. For some, it's a sport, catch and release. But man, you think about fishing, shit, you gotta have some patience to fish. You can't be one of those dudes who just gotta constantly do something in order to fish. You gotta have some goddamn patience about you. You gotta be comfortable in your own mind to deal with yourself, because if you're not playing music or fishing with a buddy to distract you, you're gonna spend a lot of time contemplating. Why are the fish not biting? I got bills to pay. I got this pending. I'm just trying to relax. I just want to fish. Why do I have to overthink shit?
I'm doing everything they told me.
I'm in a pretty good position.
Am I not a good angler?
I can tie a goddamn on uni knot. Why is the hook coming off the line? Why'd the fish steal my bait and didn't get hooked? You got to be a cool dude with yourself in order to fish.
They say it's supposed to be a great distraction, but it just adds more questions, more whys.
Yeah, Probes over there said he dangled his worm.
I think he said
Huh?
never dangled his worm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I need to read that fully. All I saw was dangling worm.
Danglage. We saw an interesting podcast today about how we're all cooked. We're all done. We all play too much. No one's taking this thing as serious as it should be. We stopped having children.
Ooh. Wait, hold on. Yeah, Chrome. I'm some days you just not with hardware jam. Sometimes it's not in your headspace.
Sometimes it's not.
Sometimes you just want to just get away and just
Continue to do you.
do Chrome things. What did you say yesterday? Go to a bowling alley and just rearrange the damn balls.
That's it.
That's it. You ain't even got to play bowling. Just rearrange the balls
And polish them.
and polish them. Set them up for the next people.
But yeah, this podcast we saw today was a little bit of I think it was a man speaking with a God complex. And he was so sure as to how we were doomed and there's no reversing time and we're at the singularity point. We're here already.
Yeah, and the guy that was saying it was Eric Weinstein. You guys might know him. He's a renowned physicist. Astrological physicist, I believe.
He was saying that we need to have more kids and we need to pray more.
And he's an atheist, go figure. But he says humans can't live without religion.
And he's terrified that Israel will no longer be and it's going to be taken over by all these Muslim states. And no one's really investing in science anymore. And there's people who are alive now who don't even know how to work the machinery from 30 to 40 to 50 years ago. And there's no fail safe. AI is going to ultimately be the end of us if we don't get control of it. It's just more fear mongering.
Yeah, I thought we'd go down some dark rabbit holes, but this dude was going down. I mean, he had no hope in his eyes. Optimism was not in his vocabulary. So I thought to myself, well, why are you... So why proceed with life then if everything's a wrap with you? Why are you going around on people's platforms? You gonna turn that fan down? Yeah, boy, my mom kind of freezing in this bad boy. Why you go on people's platforms and just spread that kind of agenda? At least here on Monkey Island, we still think we got a chance. I mean, we know it's dark times, but at least we think we got the chance.
How many people still think we got a chance? How many of us is here today? 16 people here.
Damn. Somebody said they ain't fished in 20 years. Who was that? Let me see here. The World Needs a Hero said he ain't fished in 20 years.
I'm still lurking on your channel. This world needs a hero, or the world needs a hero.
Yeah, Chrome says we got a chance. I'm with Chrome. It ain't never too late. It's not late until the fat lady sings.
Chrome says it's not too late. I mean, to have that mind from a mathematician such as
Chrome Dome. He's saying the probability is we might make it out of this.
Really? That's the math, Chrome? Is that the math you just came up with on a random, or did you really sit and try to quantify this future of ours? Knowing monkey brains, he probably sat long and hard and thought about the probabilities. Probabilities plus variables.
I asked Pi. I said, Pi, on the current trajectory of human civilization, the way you not hurt the way it perceives it, the way it's fed into you, the LLMs, what's the probability that humans, we make it in the future? And you know what she said?
Huh.
The probabilities are very high because humans are no stranger to adaptability. And I thought about that. And I said, well, damn, she's right. We've made it through a plague. We've made it through famine. We've gone through countless wars. We've gone through slavery. We've gone through multiple ice ages. And we are still here.
Eric Weinstein also said, is it Steen or Stein?
Weinstein.
He also said, although he's atheist, humanity needs religion. We need, listen to these words he's saying, we need to pray. We need to want to have a lineage and to have children and encourage our children to have children. We need to do these things he's so desperately want to put out there.
But he never said anything about we need to lower the price of fucking living overall. And that's why people are so remiss to even have kids. If somebody's struggling, and let's just say they have a pretty decent job and they have a partner and they have a pretty decent job. And even with these decent jobs, they are still hovering above the red. You think in the right normal-esque state of mind, you discuss about, let's bring one more mouth to feed to the table. I mean, let's before we start with the procreating, we really need to do a hard reset. I think Wabbit said it yesterday. Society needs a hard reset. Our priorities are fucked up. They're all over the place. And listen, I got no beef with capitalism or any ism, but when things are out of balance, things are out of balance. Why does a person who puts a basketball in the hoop makes millions of dollars versus the guy that comes out and take your trash out, or the postman,
or EMS,
or teachers? Why are they not appropriately compensated? We're just out of balance. Why do we care more about our entertainment than a hungry family that's struggling to live?
Chrome says, but there will be pain, aplenty along the way. Probe says, we have a chance, but the clock is running down.
Now, I'm not going to fight you on that, Probes. Chrome, 100%. I'm with both of you boys.
Chrome says, think of it this way. Societies can be cooperative or competitive for resources. History has proven the necessity for competitive societies, but in recent times, a global cooperative society was emerging. We are losing that now.
Yeah, we are.
We need to have outlets. If prayer is yours, fine. Prayer is when rationalizing has been abandoned.
That means what Chrome is saying, when you lost all rationale, you seek outside of yourself, outside your confines, to ask for help from other means, because you can't find that within the normalcy of what we call the real world. Now you are abandoning those hopes and you're reaching out for a different hope.
Something that science has not proven to the day. But so many people believe in it. And I think that's where it is right there. He's saying we need to, religion is a necessity for life.
Hey, Andy.
But That's it right there. So many people, there is a large amount of people that believe that there is a higher source, there is a God. Science has failed to prove this. Unless I'm mistaken, Crone, has science proven that God exists? Andy? Probes?
Anybody?
Anyone listening to this? Has science proven that God and the devil and angels and ghosts exist? We have wars fighting, or wars currently burning, hot wars. One major war that's not even about religion, it's about land and crops and propaganda, disinformation, Russia and Ukraine. Religious wars and territory wars in the Middle East.
Yeah. Chrome. Everybody agrees. Nope, it doesn't. And Chrome says, of course not. Not concretely, it's not. There's no way to measure a mass belief.
Okay, so I just want to understand why we need it to further ourselves as a society. I mean, I get it. This guy is highly smart. I'm not seeing all of the angles. I'm just a layman, so I'm not going to get certain things. But I don't think I've ever had to call on something outside myself in order to advance myself. I always see myself as the deity, as the thing that can create, destroy, event.
But that's the thing too, right? That's the thing with the masses. They don't believe that about themselves. And I often question that, and I always like the other side of the coin, because the other side of the coin are the things that most of us don't want to entertain or look at, because in our rational mind, it's just not plausible.
Mm-hmm.
So I always ask myself, okay, if there is this God, whatever that looks like,
mm-hmm.
if it created us, why do I have to step out of myself to find it when I'm already that of what
Right.
is?
Right.
If I'm an extension and derived from this,
Or an image of.
from this source,
Mm-hmm.
why do I externally need to search when it's already within?
Mm-hmm. You can already do it. You can manifest it. Probe said God is a conceptual device. Andy said God and evil are within each individual. We choose which way to go.
The yin and the yang, the polarities. And we're not bashing religion. We're just trying to make sense of it. But in my rational mind, and my brother's, he has his thoughts and I have mine. Do we really need something like religion to conduct ourselves as humans? Are we saying the moral standards of which maybe the Bible provides us is a good moral path to stay down, and that's the line where if you deviate, it could be looked as this way or it could be looked as that way? Do humans need some sort of moral compass to get through this?
Just because I shout, oh Jesus, doesn't mean I think he is there cheering me on. Probe says humans can create heaven and hell on earth. That's true too. Tone Smith, when we needed God, we thought of God. Everyone needs a code. It's easy when those who've come before say, this is the code of our people.
And then there's that.
Hey, I like how you said that, Tone.
You see what I'm saying? Then there's that. And then and at the end of the day, they're all probabilities. That's one thing that's for certain in my mind. When it comes to a faith, a belief, religion, I like to think of them as they're all probable. Now let's talk about knowledge, okay? Let's talk about how we glorify a certain individual, whether he be a physicist, whether he be a high-tech cyber geeky guy, whether it's the artist,
or whether it's a middle class hillbilly that wears overalls and perfected the way you make moonshine, or
anything.
How to build a stock car from scratch that goes 200 miles an hour.
My thing is, when we put these smart people, which we classify and normalize as smart, like these certain degrees of being a physicist, a scientist, and we give these people a platform, and just because they're educated in one particular study, I don't know why humans idolize such figures, right? Yeah, so they know a little bit about space and the stars. But why make their platform bigger than the guy that knows a lot about how to butcher cows and raise a cow? You can't have a conversation with somebody who thinks that they're smarter than you. And Eric Weinstein likes to put himself out there with this huge ego and thinks he knows what's best for people, when it's just outside of his physics. It's just his fucking opinion. But he likes to think that he's smarter than the rest. But if I ask Mr. Weinstein to go ahead and shape me a front hind shoe and be careful not to gut the bars and only take a 1/4 inch off the toe of this horse, and by the way, bevel the hell out of that shoe, because this horse has ossified collateral cartilages. Do I then in turn say, oh, what, you don't know that? You're stupid. I'm smarter than you. What do you mean you don't know how to shoe a horse? He did something else to this guy that was hosting the podcast. He says, and the gentleman lives in UK. He says, have you ever heard of this book?
About Jack the Ripper.
About Jack the Ripper. And the host says no. He's like, what's wrong with you? And you're from the UK. Not everybody knows what you know. And not everybody reads the same books that you read. So when your education mashes in with your ego, you're fucked.
What's up, George?
And then there's no conversation to be had. Let's be honest.
Then I think that's what they call a God complex.
And that's where we come up with the God complex.
Which kind of makes me wonder if we're going to have a intellectual rating, a scale per se, an IQ level. Should it just be on the person that's smarter in one area than the rest of us? Is that considered a genius? Or would a true genius be a person that has acquired all that information, knows every angle of any topic?
Mm-hmm. It wasn't even a back and forth, Tone. This guy was just running amok.
It was
with
a
his
one.
ideals.
It was one way.
It was
Tone.
one way.
It was a one-way highway.
I'll tell you what, in Discord, we'll send you the podcast and you guys can watch it yourselves and try to make sense of it.
Like maybe we're looking at how we should be looking at the smartest person in the world, or these elite smarties. Maybe they should know more than one topic, subject. Maybe they should know 100 to 200 different things very well and can explain it very well. But if you're a master of one topic, one situation, whether it be climbing a mountain or developing software or growing crops, or then you should just be an expert, a professional. And
it should stop there.
It should stop there. But when you start to believe you're greater than that and you're grander than that, and then you've looked at every angle so you know what's best for society, and you haven't walked in anyone's shoes but yours. Yeah, you've observed people. You've observed our nature. Or maybe you spend countless hours observing how we behave in every country. And you've come to this conclusion. But is that an answer for what we need to do as a society to take us out of this so-called singularity? I don't know. Did anyone here today wake up this morning saying, yep, that's it, we're cooked? Everything I see that's going on, the end of the world, we're done. We have no more than 5 years left. Anyone wake up feeling that? Or does anyone feel that our future is just not going to look good in a couple of years' time?
Our fate is sealed. Chrome says, knowledge is not a competition except with yourself. The smartest means nothing to me. Don't worry about the singularity.
I mean, here we have people that we consider, like Lamar just said, people consider this man to be one of the brightest minds in his field. And he's going on random podcasts.
They're not random.
Well, they're not random.
They have platforms. They're all built up.
They do. But some of this is the dangers that we live in, I think. I think when people have an ideation of this is what we should do, it's
dangerous.
A large statement. It's a large proposition you're selling here. I think before anyone says any of this, you have to think a long time about, one, when you say things like this, people have questions.
Yeah, not once did he say, what I would like to see happen is.
Right.
Everything out of his mouth was
what needs to happen.
And we're fucked, and life should go about this way. Now, listen to me. When you guys, when we put the podcast in Discord, you'll watch it yourselves and you get what you get coming away from it. Maybe not trust us. Maybe we're just overcooking this. But I like to think my brother and I sit and listen to people and go, I mean, that was kind of one-sided. It was bias-driven.
That's true, Rabbit. I remember people saying during the Reagan years we would not make it. Those before said the same during JFK and the Cuba crisis. Imagine what people said during slavery, the Holocaust, or other trying times in history. Every day we are cooked because Father Time is undefeated.
Damn.
And you know, I think that's a huge reason why I'm gonna speak for myself. The majority of my thought process when I get up in the morning kind of goes like this. Fuck yeah, I woke up. Now what do I do? Well, let's, drink some water and exercise the body. Try to keep this thing in optimal running shape. Contemplate a couple of things in the future. Maybe call the kids, see how they're doing. Fortunate that we have work. The wife's working. Brother lives with me. I mean, twins living together. We got a music studio out there sitting, chilling, waiting for us to get in there. Do a little grocery shopping. I mean, 9 times out of 10, that's what I'm thinking. About the day, a few moments ahead of time. But every now and then we get time to come in the studio and sit for a few hours and contemplate a little further ahead. Try to see what others are seeing or try to understand what others are seeing, hearing, fearing.
Yeah, watching that today on the way to the store, it just seems like I just don't understand it personally myself. I don't understand why push this doom and gloom agenda so hard with zero to no optimism. And the guy he even asked him, do you really think that we're doomed? And the host, he didn't want to fight back because he had someone with high accolades on his podcast that he didn't want to cross the streams or come off as defensive. He just let him talk. He stayed submissive to his ego, and he just let him have the show.
I mean, Tone, I get what you're saying. I totally get. Isn't that why he was brought on to the show, to say those things? Maybe he's mad no one has listened to him about these things.
He said that too, strikingly enough, Tone.
That he was right about. He did say that.
He did say that. He was upset that nobody's listening to me. And maybe he had him on the show for that, right? Maybe he did. But if I'm just saying, for us, if I have this platform, I'm going to push back a little bit because he's talking about us. He's talking about the rest of us humans as if we're just okay with it, with his narrative.
You know, it's hard to know what it's like to be the president of the United States. It's easy to armchair quarterback what we see on TV, and we let them tell us how these people are, who they are, because let's be honest, we don't have any other way to know who these people really are, right? How many of us are going to be able to go shake the president's hand and go, okay, tell me about yourself? I mean, this is what I've read about you. This is some of the things we see that goes on, but who are you really? A lot of us don't have that knowledge. We don't know what it takes to run this country. And then not only that, to have your ideas when you get in an office and then you're debrief on all the topics of the world and a lot of secrets that go on and the way things have been ran before you that are supposed to stay in order. And we're armed with zero information. We don't have any life experience in that person's shoes. I mean, just think about that. Just stop and think about that for one moment. We don't know what decisions to make. We don't know anything.
And will we make a decision different from the person that's in office now, knowing what they know?
And how it's been ran for X amount of years.
And I like how the president, he's just not there by himself. He has what they call, advisors.
A cabinet.
Someone that may need to advise him of what's going on and what looks different.
And, Tone, that's the fucking smartest thing you said, my boy.
What did Tone say?
I don't care I mean, don't get me wrong. I love America. I love a lot of things about America. A lot of things. In every country, every one of them has a downfall, a ugly side, a dark path, a dark past. We're living in the times where you have to find your own vision of the country in which you reside in. It's essential. It's essential. But no matter what president has stepped into the office, I don't think I ever seen any difference in the way we operate. It just appears to be getting worse. I don't point the finger at just one guy. He's only going to be here for what, 3.5 more years, and then what? Do we really think it's going to be much different? Probably not. I haven't seen what different looks like. I haven't experienced it. I haven't seen super advancement in our society, our culture, in poverty, and those that have and those that have not, and single fathers' rights. What y'all know about child support crushing single fathers? The scales are unbalanced with single mothers who just say anything, and it crushes single dads out there. No one even thinks about that unless you're in a situation and you see how uneven the scales are. Fathers' last names being taken away from children who are just trying to secure themselves a job and pay the bills. Not everyone's a fucking deadbeat. Just like not everyone's an illegal immigrant coming over here to conquer the U.S. and rape the children and snuff out the animals and eating dogs and cats.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's all about our priorities too. It's about our priorities as a civilization. We'll spend millions of dollars on entertainment. We'll spend millions on entertainment.
What's up, Kent?
And then we'll just all sit back and watch struggling teachers and blue collar workers work their whole lives away. Some may never get a vacation. Some are living on the line to where they can't afford a vacation because the grocery debt is just out of control. Gas is out of control. Hell, going on vacation requires a significant amount of money. We had a guy here last week. We had Phil here last week. Dude works mad amount of overtime, goes to school. He tries to take a vacation, everything in a nice place in Michigan. And everything he buys for the day is $80, $40. Because of the tourist site, if you want to see this nice shit and you want to eat, you got to pay.
And it's been like that for as far as we could fucking remember.
But we'll give you millions to shoot a goddamn ball through a hoop. Maybe we don't pay them as much.
Oh shit, Kent got his computer working.
And I get that. But we gotta have some fucking balance. And sometimes one person does not need $1 trillion. I'm not hating on their invention. I'm not hating on their what they've contributed to society. But we just gotta find balance. In the holidays, when I go to the Walmart, and I'm sure this is at probably every Walmart, and if you notice, they have a layaway section where you can come back and pick your item up and they set it aside for you. I talked to a dude that rides his bike on our walk path, and he says that every holiday, there's probably a couple $100,000 of material goods that sit there until they can be bought because a lot of people can't even afford to do things. The balance is fucked up. But I'm gonna pay you $1 million to run this goddamn ball down that field. Because our entertainment is more important.
We spent 15 years on an ambulance answering 911 calls. Got paid like shit. Pumped on many hearts. Plugged a few bullet holes. Transported the elderly to where they needed to go safely. Rendered help when we can. Search and rescue, we've done that for a few years. Some of that was volunteer work. You got paid nothing.
But I'm going to give you $1 million if you ride this goddamn horse.
Anyone see the problem here? I don't know if there's an answer. I don't know if we can get this shit checked or put it in check.
Non-union, Chrome.
I think everyone is, and I hate to say this, bear with me. Bear with me. We all are comfortable with it. We're good with it. Ask yourself, what's it going to take for you to get off the couch, to leave your synthesizers, and put an end to the unjust world we live in?
George G says, my daughter is an EMT. I've heard the stories, even the frequent flyers.
Yep.
And ask her how much she's compensated for her time caring for the rest of people. Rabbit says, we're just comfortably numb.
And that's the thing right there. It's scary to say it, but all of us, we'd be lying to ourselves right now if we said, not me. I'm just waiting for the rest to wake up. I think we're already paying attention. I think there's enough people paying attention.
Probe says we're all on one big hamster wheel. Tone says, does one person really need $1 billion?
I mean, think about that. Why does one person, I think Kent said this, why does one person need $1 billion? I think he says something crazy like this person can spend $1,000 every day and still not even tap into what he truly has. Think about that. So as we're watching this podcast, him and I just keep having the same conversation. Why? Because it's fun. I mean, who wants to sit around and talk about shit we already know? We know the sky's blue. We know water's wet. We know Judas fucked over Jesus. We know that. That's not fun. What's fun is talking about the things we don't know.
You know what Weinstein said too? He said, it's time for us to leave Earth. It's time for us to get out to the stars.
$1,000 a day for 270 fucking years. Billionaire. Are we ready to leave the planet?
I'm getting to that. This dude says we need to leave the planet. And the other guy didn't want to say anything, but I'm like, why? We haven't even figured our shit out yet. So what? You want to go fucking war hungry on some other planet? Why do you want to spread this disease on some other planet? And we haven't even figured out our shit. So it came to me that Weinstein just wants to escape. It came to me that he's had enough of this planet. He's had enough of the way we live as humans because he's not a part of it in his mind, or maybe he is, but he's sick of it. He's lost all hope, and right now he just wants to escape. He wants to leave. He just wants to get in a personal spaceship and he wants to leave. He even said he wouldn't even trade his life with his kids. He doesn't want to do it because that's how much hope he has in humanity. He wants to escape on his own personal ship and leave the planet. And he used that man's platform to spread that. And then you have kids who look up to scientists and people that maybe are fans of his through his work. And they go, well, obviously, if he's thinking this way, it must be true. And then you cast this wide shadow of doubt amongst your masses. And now they have the doom and gloom cloud showering all over their optimistic ways.
Rabbit said we should put them on an origami rocket and have them fuck off.
Make yourself one.
Then he told the host of the podcast, he says, do you care about your lineage? And the host says, nah, it's not really. I mean, what do I care? It's not really a future there. What do I care? I'll be dead in a few short years. And then Weinstein comes unglued and he goes, that's the problem. You're the problem. You should care about your lineage. You should want to have kids and watch them have kids. That's what I'm going to change about the world so you can care about your future. And that's what I'm asking you guys. Are we in this doom and gloom state? Or are we on the right path? Everything we hear on TV about negativity and AI is going to do this and the government's going to do that to you. Are we really convinced we're at the singularity point? This is it for us. Only a few short years left. We've truly fucked ourselves. It's done. It's a wrap.
Yep. Chrome says, anyone who wants to leave the planet on their own personal ship has my blessing. Wabbit says, I choose not to have kids. I should not do what others think I should do when it comes to that type of thinking.
And people shouldn't look at you and go, oh, you're going to regret it. You're going to regret not doing one of the most simple things on this planet that us humans should be doing.
Right. Right. He's casting his ideals now.
Having babies.
Yep.
It's the most simple thing a human can do.
That's what he says. It's simple to have a baby. It's the most simple thing.
And we're not even doing that. Here's the other statistic he came up with. That Elon Musk was right. No one's having kids anymore. The numbers are down.
Well, the numbers are down when you got fucking $1 trillion of them goddamn dollars in your pocket.
What's up, Hans Vogt?
What's up, Hans?
The numbers are down. The population is dwindling.
Crow said it's simple to buy a boat too, but keeping it? Yeah, for Weinstein, let's be honest. The guy's well off, right? He doesn't have to struggle or worry about a meal. So for him having a kid, it's easy. But say that to a struggling family, a struggling couple who can't afford to have a kid and probably want to have a kid. And say that for the people who don't want to have a kid and struggling. Why do you get to dictate somebody else's fucking personal life? And the irony of it all, he's an atheist and he was pushing religion. It just made no sense. It was just weird to me. Him being atheist, but yet humans need religion. And he says smart shit like, it only makes sense, duh. It's the arrogance, it's the egotistical mindset.
Rabbit said, leave my lineage on my paper. Kissing the Machine says lineage and legacy mean little other than being decent when I'm about and hoping some of it rubs off on my kids and others. Our kids are independent souls quickly enough. Quite right, too.
What y'all think about that shit?
I think that's why Musk is having babies, Chrome. He feels that, we're falling behind. You know what they say took the Roman Empire down too? They stopped having kids. They stopped having babies.
Yeah, now China is telling its people to have kids.
Try to have more than 2 or 3 if you can now. They've completely reversed everything. But here's the thing. Why, what makes an individual want to have kids when they can see how hard it is for them
That's what I've been saying, man.
When they can see what this planet is up to.
I'm talking about.
Where's the incentive here? Wait, hold on. People always say it was better 20 years ago. It was better 30 years ago. It was better 50 years ago. But for who? What circumstance? You mean to tell me 20 years ago there was no poverty? There was no rich, there was no poor? We had great fucking politics. Are you telling me 50 years ago we had something figured out and the scales were balanced? I just laugh at shit like that because nothing's changed. Nothing has fucking changed. The only thing that's changed is, for my life, personally, I'm able to come in this studio that I'm fortunate to have, play music and get my mind off shit and talk to you guys, my friends, and be able to stay in my home. I'm still chasing my ass. I'm still worried about my future, worried about my kids. What's fucking changed? Nothing's changed. There's still the have and the have-nots, the lazy and the weak, the smart and the smarter, the oligarchs, the murderers, psychosis, depression, greed, envy. I'm starting to think this is what it's supposed to be, people. I'm starting to think that this is who we are as human beings. We need to recognize it
and be good with it.
And be like the General Rabbit. Be good with it. Find your hutch. Turn on your red light.
Go through some ups and downs with life.
And just hit play on that damn machine and see what you can't sequence.
He said, Weinstein is obviously Jewish. You can tell by the name. But he said what broke the camel's back. I don't know how he fucking said it. But because he saw a hypersonic missile smash into Israel, he knew then, as he's putting away groceries, that it's the end of the world. The apocalypse has already started. And in a few short amount of time, what we have left, we are going to kill ourselves with nuclear holocaust.
And what I got from it is he's saying essentially if Israel goes down, so will the world. Now help me understand this, people. You know, it's easy for us not to talk about this, put our head in the sand and just go, it's all shit. It means nothing to me. It's easy to do that. It's easy. That's easy. But I'm not about easy. I don't see any links there. I don't see any links where if Israel falls, we all fall. What happened to 57,000 Palestinians who were mostly women and children who died in the Gaza Strip?
What happened about the hundreds and thousands and hell, millions of people that died under the tyrant Kony's hands in Africa?
What about Rwanda? What about the injustice that's going on in South America?
What about people having to walk almost 15 miles just to get water? And walk 15 more miles just to bring it back so they can do that every day?
Kent says poverty has increased. That's for sure.
I don't think there's a middle class anymore. I forgot who we had here. I think it was maybe Phil. He said, yeah, you have an upper middle class and you have a middle class. And I don't find that to be the case. You either have a little bit of money or you're rich.
Yeah, kissing the machines. We're always being asked to take a side when it's far more complicated than that.
So much, especially when it's global. And what side do you take with the human race as if you're not a part of it? At what point do we stop looking at sides and go, it's the human race? It's a global problem. It's a universal human problem. When do we take color? When do we take regions, continents, borders, and just erase that shit and look at ourselves as a whole? When does that take place? I'm gonna tell y'all a story real quick. There's this little blue ball in deep space, and it's perfectly distanced itself from the sun, and it's harbored life. Beautiful life. It has birds. It has these things called bees and trees. It has vast oceans where animals and fish, they live as a unit. It's a universal place. They feed off each other. Earth is this eat or be eaten place. You should see the monkeys, and you should see how these insects are all over the place and thriving, and there's no borders. Everything just is.
Amoebas and microbacterias and
But then
inorganic and organic complexes.
But then as I look closer and I get closer, I start to see these like fictitious lines in the region. And I see these toll crossings, and now I'm starting to see that this human civilization has distanced themselves and divided themselves to think that they're not even one species, that they're actually different from each other,
that they don't even come from this marble.
And it's gotten so out of hand that they're even killing each other.
And they constructed these fictitious religions.
Doesn't that sound like some shit out of a story tale? Like, doesn't that sound like something out of a fucking fantasy book? Don't you have to look at that book and go, well, how ignorant are these people?
Hans Bolt said, is it out of hand? Well, that's a complex question, Hans. Is it out of hand?
I think it's totally out of hand. If we all had the privilege to be in a spaceship right now and just look at Earth, just look at the planet and see that we all come from that, how broad would your understanding be that we are in this together and we are as of one consciousness? Where does the divide begin and end? What have we taught ourselves?
I'm with you, Hans. I don't know if you heard what I said earlier, but I'm with you. I think we're looking at what we're supposed to do exactly. There's no, you can't convince me that this is not by design. You could just go back and look at the human emotion, for example, lust, jealousy, envy, greed, love, hate, wanting to worship, wanting to manipulate, wanting to understand, learn.
He says the female mantis eats the male's head off, bites that motherfucker clean off. What if the world was that way?
Clean off.
I mean, if it's something like that, and that's like our nature, like the mantis, it's nature. The mantis is not vicious or being malevolent. It's doing what that's what the species is designed to do. So that goes back to the age-old question, and I'm glad Hans said something. We as a species, are we designed to kill each other, lust over each other, greed, love, hate? Are we designed to do that? Is the design not accepting of all humans coming together under the same conscious mind of just this oneness?
I don't know, Hans. He says we're not smart enough for peace. I mean, I watched the samurai find peace with Bro Synth Network. I've watched that. I found peace with a person who says some negative shit about me. Smart enough to do it. I think when you say we're not smart enough for peace, it shouldn't be
a general,
a blanket statement.
Yeah. Because obviously some of us are not. If that was the case, the world would look way different.
Okay, let me ask you this, and I don't know the history between Hans Volt and synth punk.
What's up, Abby Groove?
But can you guys find peace and step outside the ego and just conquer that, squash that, and go back to just being musicians and content creators, no matter what's been said or how it's been said? Can you leave that? Can you ghost that? Can I go to Synth Seeker and go, you know what? All the stuff I know about you and all the shit you said in my ear, I'm gonna step outside of ego and I want to find common ground with you. I want to understand why you said, and let's just put this shit behind us and let's move on. We all got to find peace. I think we're smart enough to do it.
But sometimes your ego won't let you do it. So if there's anything that's to be said, it would be humans and their ego. Ego is standing in between us and a perfect world, probably.
Hans says, I can always, but I'm not one to force opinions down others' throat. And then there's another thing that we got to think about, exactly what this man said. In order to find peace, see, that's another fucking variable that you have to think about. It's going to come with a fucking opinion. And what if someone doesn't want to hear that opinion? What if someone doesn't agree with that opinion? But does that mean there's still no neutral ground to stand on? Does that take the podium away?
Because everybody's got an opinion about something. At what point are you going to be good with someone else's opinion, right? What if let's just say, and I think I've said this before, let's say out of the blue, your partner, your wife, your best friend, whoever it is, they're really close to you. And all of a sudden they broke a secret and they were like, I'm part alien. I'm part alien and I'm not from this planet, and I love you so much that now I'm telling you this. And now that you know, I just want to go about my life and go back to work. Nothing's going to change with me. I'm still the same person. I'm not crazy, but I'm part alien. But because that's her belief and her opinion, at what point are you going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's just go back to doing that's just your opinion. That's your belief.
Yeah, like, okay, so just groove. Ego isn't even the issue. It is the misuse of it. It is essential for survival aspects. Yet we are often not really in an existential crisis. Crazy rabbit, because at the end of the day, it's some trivial bullshit. Warheart Arts. When an opinion ignores facts, it's hard to support. That we got that too. Everyone thinks
their opinion is fact.
If you could step outside of that,
maybe we have some grounds to communicate.
I think we got grounds to communicate.
But I don't know if humans, listen, you guys, I don't know if humans are designed to not ever be at war or have lust and greed. or hold such conflict inside of us?
What's up, man with beard? What's up, Telly?
I don't know. I know probably over half of us don't feel that way, but there's a portion of us that do. How come we know as humans that we're capable of such beautiful things and we have these beautiful dreams, right? Especially musicians. We have these beautiful dreams. But then yet, when we look at our darker side of humanity, we have such horrible nightmares. And I get we need to have the yin and the yang, the duality of it all, right? We have to have balance. But could it be, and this is a probability, because I don't know, could it be that here on Earth, we've seemed to have placed ourselves in this physical realm, in these physical bodies, just so we can all experience what it's like to live out this particular life? Maybe we're all loving spiritual beings from the other side, some other dimension. And the ultimate VR game is to go live an earthly physical experience and see what it's like to hate, lust, lie, steal, kill, manipulate, brainwash, love, laugh, have fun, be rich, be poor, be addicted.
Ooh.
What about that?
I mean, that's...
What if this is just some big simulated VR headset game that we've all chose to sign up to endure to make our spirits that much stronger? So when we take it all back to the other side, we can say, man, that was a one hell of an experience. I would have never gotten that if I haven't manifested myself into that physical meat sack.
And the likelihood of us being in a simulation is starting to become popular because we ourselves are creating simulations of things. And pretty soon, you wouldn't even know if you were in a simulation. You wouldn't even know if you were in a video game if no one told you. That's the future.
See, Tone made a small joke with that statement, but at the end of that statement, entertain it. If that's the case, then wouldn't you want to go out with the highest stats possible?
You would have to filter out the sociopath and the psychopath from society. That was Hans Folk.
Oh, no. In the Earth life, you even forget where you came from. And you even forget you signed up to come here. There's no filtering anything out because everything here on the Earth plane is fair game. Because you have to endure it.
Damn.
You have to run the obstacle of life as, do I get up, get in my truck, and get in a car accident, and today's my last day? The unknowns are still unknowns. The probabilities. There's nothing pre-written. You get, like Tone says, you get as far as you get. And you try to get as many stats as possible.
Yeah, Westworld, probes.
Westworld.
That's crazy. Westworld is crazy.
How many truths are in that, though? How do we know that everybody here in chat...
Get good. Tom Smith said, get good at Paul Holmes.
How do we know that everybody here in chat, my brother and I, and all of our friends outside of this, how do we know we haven't met up in this other place before we came here?
And this was a planned meeting now?
And we said, you know what? We're going to plan a particular set day, and we're going to remind ourselves that we're in this particular game of life. And we'll remind ourselves to play it well.
But don't spoil it. You don't want to spoil it.
Yeah. We'll still be like
subtle clues.
Curious.
Yeah, we'll have subtle clues.
So whenever we see an old person, my brother and I tell them, an older person, we'll tell them, sir, ma'am, you played a masterful game at life. How did you get through it?
We do say that.
Young people look at old people and go, you're old. And they never stop to think and go, this person must have played a masterful game of life because they're still here.
Tone said, for real, if that's the case, I'm happy we all got here.
Look how far
That
we've made
means
it.
something.
Look how far we've made it. It means something. Look how many people we lost, and they're not running the race. Look how many people we lost already who's not running the race anymore. We're still here.
Rabbit says, I want to know what goes on behind the camera.
While we're in it? Is that what
even if it's too much to handle?
Ooh.
Oh, okay, Rabbit. I once heard a scientist. Can you read Just Grooves?
Yeah.
In a minute here. I once heard a scientist say, if he put a spectrometer over half the human population's eyes, like you just wore these glasses that were essentially a spectrometer device. This device would allow you to see the things that our normal eyes can't see every day. And he said this: the things you would see on this planet would blow your fucking mind, and you would almost want to take those glasses off immediately. And it's around us 24/7. And it makes me think maybe that's why we can only see a certain spectrum, because we're not ready for it.
Ooh, let me get all these caught up. Let me get
Go
caught
ahead,
up because you
go
guys
ahead.
got some great ideas, and I love this. Paul Holmes says, I met you boys years ago, possibly.
Possible.
Groove says, nah, possible, but I choose to believe it's not a simulation. Having the thought of being merely a simulation effort to fulfill your purpose is less meaningful. And I like that narrative too. I like that idea thought process too. And then he says, it's either to chill and say, nah, ain't real anyways. Why bother? That's an interesting perspective. If Newton's law, this is KTM kissing the machine. If Newton's law of every action having an equal and opposite reaction, then everything predetermined anyway, it's just too complex for us to calculate it because we don't know. That's what KTM is saying.
And you know how
It's too goddamn complex for us to calculate when you're living in this shit.
And here's the thing about that, KTM. Here's the thing about that. On a nano level, just us having a conversation with everyone here in the comment section is going to cause some sort of reaction. And that's going to reverberate into something you do different today or something you process different today, which causes another reaction in who you interact with after you leave this YouTube channel. And it affects that person.
Isn't that what they call the ripple effect? Little ripples. Probe says, when I see people of older age, I think, wow, all that experience and knowledge. Here's the thing where Probes hit it spot on. I don't care what education you have or how smart you are. If you're an elderly person, what we perceive to be maybe 80s, 90s, maybe late 70s, I don't know. You've learned something because you're still here. And a lot of people take for granted that there's this big, massive university. And the name of that university, you know what the name of the university is we all attend? Anybody want to guess? That university is called life.
Hard Knocks.
And I think everybody's getting this education when we all die. Rabbit's right about one thing. We have all these bullshit little notions that we have about ourselves and others and what life is about and what we think it's about, and we're so stuck in our ways. But one thing that's for certain, Father of death and time never takes a vacation.
Thank you, Absurd TV. That's really generous of you.
Thank you, Absurd. And Father Death of Time comes around, and when he snatches your ass up, I hope only then we are introduced to the things that we were missing.
There's still one thing that puzzles me. And I know it may be up to an individual's morals. But is it me or do most of you feel like you have to do some good before you leave this planet? Do you feel this like overwhelming sense that someone's or something is observing you, keeping tally, making sure you don't go too far off the deep end, maybe helping you make decisions that you can't quite understand why you're making these decisions? Do you feel this sense that I just gotta get this right? I gotta do better. I gotta make small changes. I want to do this.
I like to think my consciousness, I'm with you, Groove. I'm with you. I do believe we all have free will. Whether we're in this, whether we're in harboring these bodies and that we have spiritual essence about us that occupy these bodies. I do believe we have we have what you call free will to do as we want. Because if we didn't, we wouldn't see that people would commit suicide. Someone would go out and kill someone. I don't think there's somebody harboring us to make us do these things. I think we have free will. We have the free will to pursue music, even if it costs us our very lives.
And once you're on that path, who knows what awaits for you on that path?
Right. Would you guys live life different, knowing that after this physical life, you still carried on? If you had some sort of evidence for yourselves, and I don't know how you may come across it, right? It's unique to everyone. But if you had the proof for yourselves, would you live your life any different? And let's just say this place is what we're supposed to be like in our ideal mind. It's a utopic place where the only resounding equation is that of love. And you know nothing outside of love until you get to this earth plane. Would you live your lives any different?
Probe said, when I was a kid, I loved listening to all of the old boys talking about their experiences during war in the barbers. Paul Holmes says, always do good, for real.
And that seems to be instilled within us all, right? There's this innate knowing that doing good and love just feels way better than hate and anger.
Kissing the Machine says, I feel the urge not to F it up for someone else.
Oh,
That's interesting right there. If he feels the urge not to fuck this up for someone else, doesn't that seem like a higher self?
Right.
You're accountable to a higher self.
or something.
Chrome says, spoken like a bass player, death by music.
Death by fucking music.
Tone
Chrome.
Smith says, future me is watching me now. That's the guy I'm trying to impress. That still sounds like there's a higher self at play. There's something about you that isn't maybe physically tied to you, but it there's this presence that suggests you need to watch what you're doing here. You need to do this. You need to care for others. You need to help others and nurture friendships. And here's what's fascinating to me about that is we all felt this, when I mean we, my brother and my wife, we felt this urge to do this channel, to do this music and get it out to people. And we would always ask ourselves, who will we meet on this path that will lend a hand, that has more subscribers than us, that actually believes in what we're doing? We were just puzzling that. And out of the blue, just as fast as we can manifest this, a wild character by the name of Synth Samurai shows up. He has way more subscribers, way more views, tons of watched hours, and a good following. He's putting out good content. And then this guy notices some Yahoo monkeys doing what they do. Now, I never asked him what exactly was the thing that made him say, I want to be a part of Monkey Island. I want to go here and spend my time here. Already being a content creator, already invested in the things he has to do, which, knowing him, it's hours and hours of thankless work that he puts himself through. And he sees a young channel. What told him, I need to follow this, see it out, figure out who these people are. And not only must I do that, this is a lot, people. This is no ADHD type shit here. Take it back to my home village. Put it in front of the renegades. And I know he's thinking, sure, not everybody's going to buy into this. Not everybody's going to like what I like. But he offered another piece of himself to his village and said, hey, on my spare time, this is where I'm at. This is what I need to do. I need to watch. I need to consume this. I will love it if you guys also too consume this. There's not a whole lot of big fucking YouTube channels out there doing that for the small guy. And if you have any platform and you're self-aware like Tony is suggesting, Tone Smith, why do it? If there's no one keeping tally and you don't feel like you need to do more, what's pushing you to do it or not do it? And a lot of you may laugh at this, but this is my personal belief. There's something we can't see that's more. If we're possible, anything's possible. There's something pushing us to be good, something pushing us to be better. Yeah, you have some minds that are just complete corrupted. But those who are able to hear the signal and want to be a part of some source and listen to the source and feel the source, it points you to the right direction every fucking time.
And he says, Samurai loved the drones. Let's see here. Let me catch up here.
Even Inky from Hardware Jams, this woman felt like she needed to push us out there. Hardware Jams at the time was a lot larger than Monkey Island. We were just getting started. This one woman didn't even know us. She didn't know us from Adam. And she convinced people and convinced us, hey, look, listen to this. I think she even told Echocraft, you need to go look at Monkey Island. Go look at Symptoms of Reality.
Groove says, same like, do not do charity in public for the pat on the back or the public prayer of the devoted believer. Don't do good so God gifts you. Just because it is only right. That's all. Listen to me. What he's trying to say, I'm gonna butter that one up for you, Groove. It's a universal fact that I believe every human being has something good within them. And it's this innate thing that we're given. It's a gift that we're given, that we want to do good for each other. You just want to do good for so many people. And if it's genuine, you don't need to be thanked. You don't need the pat on the back. You don't need to do it in the returns for a good favor or for a monetary gain. You're doing it because you have the love for that individual. You're doing it because deep down you want to see other people prosper just like you, because they resonate with you. The old saying of walking the old lady across the road, that's because that melts your heart. That's because something within you knows that you have to take care of that person for that time being, because something resides in you to see that done.
To me, it feels like it's something spiritual about it.
I think every human as a baby was born with love, and that love may have came from their mother. Maybe it came from the parent that or guardian that raised them. And then when they got lost in the transition of some negative frequencies about our own nature of us, some of the wires were crossed. Or maybe some minds and consciousness weren't fully developed and can't obtain that way of thinking. But deep down, it's written in our code. Love is in everybody's code. 99.9% of us wake up just wanting to be loved, maybe not be alone.
Lurk on, Tone. Lurk on, brother.
Maybe have a family that they're missing. Maybe a loved one's missing. Maybe a loved one passed on. I know that's for sure. I know every hateful person loves something, even if they just love to hate people. I know that's a fact. Abi and I met through, and Abi is Groove. We met through Recon's channel. And Recon told me, Moser, the bass player, buddy, you're going to love this guy's channel, what he's doing. Really jazzy. Right up your alley. So I go there, I sit there and I support Abi. Most of the time it's just he and I shooting the shit on his channel. He thinks he can't play jazz well. I'm always having to tell him knock that shit off. He's phenomenal. He plays basketball. He breaks people's knees on the court. He has a smoking addiction that he's trying to kick. He's struggling with life just like I'm struggling with life. He's in Germany, I'm in Indiana. We swap numbers, we become friends. And it's just like that. It's that easy. It's truly that easy. Effortless, one might say. Effortless.
I was supposed to say, you should have followed up with that statement with a super chat. I mean, but too, look at this. Words affect people. We may sit here and be like, oh, you're too sensitive, or oh, you're too this, you're too that. Words affect us all.
Mm-hmm.
Because words have
meaning.
There you go.
They have substance.
And it also has a type of sound and
a frequency,
music behind it.
Yeah.
For lack of better words.
If I told somebody in chat, I fucking hate you, you feel that shit. That person would feel that. So I ask you, just because it didn't physically touch you, but it hit you within the inside of you, did it not hurt? If it caused a reaction or some sort of physiological response, was it not real?
I think music affects us. I think people who have a smart intellect, they know how to affect us with their words, the structure, the way they articulate things. They have a power to sway our emotions from right to left.
Yeah, and as kids, what was the saying? Sticks and stones will break my bones, but your words will never hurt me. Tell that to the kids that grew up fucked up or killed themselves because they got bullied in school. cyberbullying. If words never hurt, then how come so many people fucking fall victim to it? If you can't feel words and you tell your loved one, I love you very much and I miss you, and you tell me that doesn't feel good to that person or feel good saying, how do you tell me words don't affect?
How many people heard of the Charlie Chaplin the speech or cymatics? I think there's some real witchcraft out there. I think there's more to us than what we know. I've always had this feeling that there's more to me than I can understand, and the powers that be in our education system, in our scientific world, have failed us. They let us down, and all we have now is what we can research.
Let me read this what Groove put, my boy. I believe most people are good-hearted and with the intact moral compass, yet the capacity to act in accordance. The human condition is in its way, but we try, oh Lord, we do. Ain't that the motherfucking truth? KTM says, and just letting people be is important. So much conflict comes from unsolicited opinions, judgments, and interference, etc. Not doing bad is as good as doing good, in my honest opinion. We keep forgetting that this is Groove. We keep forgetting that we also belong to a great collective consciousness. Sound super esoteric and hippie. I mean, it sounds super esoteric and hippie, but well,
I think you're right, Groove. I mean, I believe that there is a source. There is a source that we tap into. And you guys who've been here enough understand what I'm saying. If your boombox is dead, is the signal gone?
Boom.
If your cell phone is dead, is the signal gone?
Listen to this. Mango C4 is probably the youngest in the chat, right? And this kid is already on the goddamn beaten path. Because this is something I struggle with a lot, and I'm sure a lot of you do. Also, besides what words others tell us, the words we tell ourselves and our thoughts impact so much in our day-to-day lives. I will overthink something and tell myself something and convince myself.
The worst of the worst.
And that is what it is. Because my motherfucking imagination can do 10,000 times worse than what reality can do. I promise you. Where you have to even go out and ask for validation. Am I overthinking this? Did I just do this to myself? The human imagination is 10 times, 1,000 million, quadrillion, billion, gazillion times worse than reality.
The power of self-manipulation.
I'm going to get to this party. No one's going to fucking like me. It's going to be I'm going to have such a horrible time. I'm not going to meet anybody. I'll just find a spot to hide and just wait it out.
And then you live in that construct because you created it. You manifested that.
You get to the party, everybody there thinks you're fucking fascinating. You made two new friends, and one of them you took home and shagged.
Right on your rug.
Right on your rug. And you got the knee burns to prove it. Now, what was worse? Your imagination or reality?
I want y'all to see this because this is what music does. This is what sound does. Everything's affected by words. This is why I think there's a grand source out there. And there's more than what we can see or understand because they're not telling us the truth. Now let's think about that.
Water is living.
I told my wife the other day, I forgot about some water in a metal container. And it was sitting there for a couple of weeks and I I don't know why I did this, but I had to take some allergy medication. I got lazy, didn't want to go in and get a fresh glass of water. And I drank from this metal reciprocal. And I told her, oh my God, this water tastes dead. And she looked at me and started fucking falling out laughing. And I said, yeah, it did sound funny. But I meant it. This water doesn't taste alive anymore. There's some people in different countries who, when they drink their water or when they feed their animals water, it's moving naturally. They don't fill up their doggy dish or their cat dish. It's constantly moving. They have things where the water is going down these infinite cascade type setups where the cats and the dogs can drink from because it's moving. It's alive. It's a breathing organism. And the same for water dispensers in your home. You can buy particular dispensers to help keep the water alive, per se. And I never thought about it like that. I never thought water was alive like that. One would suggest it may even be conscious. Are you with me, Just Groove? Because I see what you're putting in the comment section. Let's go into it, Daryl. Now, looking at that from looking at the one prior, there's a huge difference.
As far as beautiful water and negative goddamn water.
I would assume it's like a plant. Is it a myth where you could talk to a plant and you could put a plant in depression and then it'll ultimately die? Or if you sing to a plant and talk to a plant in positive nature, the plant thrives and it lives. If you do believe in that, then that would suggest multiple things with even wilder questions. If you play negative music or positive music, what does a plant know about music or words? Or is it something we can't see? Is it more to the energy that we put out? Let's go, Daryl. Let's look at some more here.
A lateral.
It's one of those channels where we cannot, what do you call it? Review it.
It's a ding, 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 ding. It's over. The Revenge of Water. Samurai's right. We got to get shit open sourced. Why are things not open sourced? Why would Gaia TV have a problem with us reviewing what they're trying to put out? Giving them props for all the legwork. I mean, after all, aren't they trying to put this out to the masses to get a better understanding? Why shun those for trying to extend the olive branch?
And this is what happens.
Should things be open source? The editor sent us a very fascinating article about copyrights, about how AI can steal people's literature, their books, and hoard that information, violate copyrights, and then filter it and tell the same novel that someone else already wrote about just to feed the beast.
Or anyone's investigation. Now they have books out there that was written by AI saying this book is written in the same form
As the author.
of this book would write.
Just pretty much stealing your shit and saying it's doing it.
I don't know why you can't even look at information without there being some kind of a goddamn weird
Paywall.
or somebody's not getting revenue for something that's been out for 10 years. What's the harm in marketing someone else's channel? What's the harm in putting your information out there for people to look at without looking for something in return?
Just Groove says it is a documentary on memory of what and its possible medicinal implications. Very interesting. Big Pharma tried to ridicule that would be a Nobel Prize researcher. Cannot make a killing off water. You can't.
But that documentary was getting good. It was going to show what music and what language does to water and how to keep its structure positive before you consume it. There's another scientist out there who also believes what we saw with water does the same thing to our blood. Certain frequencies puts us in disease. Think about that. And then there are certain frequencies that keeps our blood in a more positive state. And it takes hold of the free radicals that swim around in there and keeps us healthy. And if it does it for water, and there's one scientist saying, hey, it does it for blood as well, do we turn our attention away from that? Is it too hocus pocus? Was what we looking at just now too hocus pocus? Anyone believe this is not the case, that what we were looking at was all shenanigans and there's no real substance there? There lies the thing there. I think even if we do have answers now, such as that, it's made to look like it's magic. It's made to look like, don't think like this. It can't happen. Imagine seeing a commercial on every major TV network showing something like this. Hey, before you drink your water, make sure it's moving in a natural form before you consume it. Just no right elbow turns, and let's not confine it into
a negative space.
PVC piping and PEX hitting these right angles so it doesn't move naturally. Is there something to be said about water when it moves naturally? I think we were just looking at someone's lifelong study into it. And I don't know if some people can believe it or not. It's voodoo. It's magic. It's crazy. Kissing the Machine says everything has a natural frequency.
I believe that. I believe trees, rocks, the grass, us, our environment. I think everything has a frequency or some sort of vibrational state to it.
I think the wife has found something else. Let me see.
I think vibrations and frequencies are all around us.
Photographs of the work of Japanese researcher Mr. Masaru Emoto from his book, The Message from Water. Mr. Emoto's work provides factual evidence that human vibrational energy, thoughts, words, ideas, and music affect the molecular structure of water. Please remember that water comprises over 70% of a mature human body and covers the same amount on our planet. Water is the very source of all life. This photo shows the beautifully formed geometric design of the Yushi Spring water. This next photo is from the Shimanto River, the last clean spring in Japan. Notice the extraordinary geometric forms. The fact that the molecular structure of water can be affected by our consciousness, our intent, and our sounds is extremely important. This photo is from the Mount Cook Glacier in New Zealand.
Look at this.
Mr. Emoto has been visually documenting these molecular changes in water by means of his photographic techniques. He freezes droplets of water, then examines them under a dark field microscope that has photographic capabilities. His work clearly demonstrates the diversity of the molecular structure of water and the effects of the environment upon the structure of the water. This photo is from the fountain in Lourdes, France.
It's a good question, Chrome. Got to get a book and read up on this.
This photo is from contaminated water from the Yodo River in Japan. In this photo, we can compare the contaminated water with clean stream water. Look at the difference.
Yeah, Just Groove. I believe every musician out here right now, when you listen to Hans Volt, Kent Spong, Just Groove, Tone Smith, Uncle Chrome, Warheart, I think we're shamans. People laugh at that idea, but I think we're shamans. And I think when we play our music, we attract certain people into our lives, or it affects certain people to want to come into your life because you're putting out a source that says, I'm okay. This is who I am. I'm above certain things. Now, think about it like this. If I was playing gangster rap and it was just music about killing people and material things, how many of you would be here right now? Despite who I was as a person, if that's what you got from this channel, and all my brother is talking about nigga, 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 and bitches and bitches and bitches and hoes, would you be here right now? It's kind of like that water complex. Let's go into a little more, Daryl, if we can. I don't know if we can. She may have found some open source stuff.
Mr. Emoto decided to see what effects music would have upon the structure of water. He placed distilled water between two speakers for several hours while playing different music and then photographing the crystals that formed after the water was frozen. This photo is of water being exposed to Beethoven's Pastorale. This photo is the effect of Bach's Air for the G string on the water. This photo is water exposed to Chopin's Farewell Song.
Look at that.
This next photo is water being exposed and affected to music that was designed for healing. This photo is of water being exposed to the Kawachi folk dance. This photo shows the effect of heavy metal music upon the water. Here now we can compare the effects of healing versus heavy metal music and what happens to the water molecules. Mr. Emoto decided to see how thoughts and words affected the formation of untreated distilled water crystals by typing words onto paper and then taping this paper onto glass bottles overnight. This photo shows the effects of the words, "Thank you." This next photo shows the effects of the words, "Love and appreciation." This photo shows the effects of the words, "You make me sick, I will kill you."
Look at that. Disease.
And here we can compare the effects of "thank you" with the "you make me sick, I will kill you." Very, very different geometric forms being occurred through the intention. Now this photo is of a very polluted and toxic water from the Fujiwara Dam. Here now is the same water from the Fujiwara Dam after a Buddhist monk had offered a prayer over it. Prayer, that sound coupled with intention, seems to have an extraordinary ability of restoring water to its natural, harmonious, geometric symmetry. And in this photo we can compare the toxic water and then the effects of praying over the water.
I'm taking this for face value.
Yeah, we haven't done the work. We haven't done the science. We're not scientists. We're not water chemists. We can only go by what this man has work to do.
This is an actual man who did the fucking studies. I'm sure he has a book that can probably
go into more detail.
And maybe that's what we should do. Maybe we should just go buy his book
and go into more detail
and read it. But I happen to think if I'm ever going to believe anything and put trust into anyone, I'd put it into this guy. Just as easy as I could probably pick one of you guys out in the comment sections, even though I haven't met you, and all we have is the interaction of these words.
And I fly out to your respective country or place and I need a ride somewhere.
Or somewhere to stay.
I'm going to trust that. Yeah, I trust that one of you guys would have our backs.
I trust that.
I really do. We're not too far gone to where we don't trust our fellow humans.
And when I just completely give up on their discoveries and their investigative works.
I'm not too far gone to say that, especially when I haven't done the legwork. There used to be a time where we actually believed those that were telling the truth. And that's how we made it this far.
And you had an ultimate gut feeling that somebody was being deceitful.
You know, pioneers back in the day in the West here in the States, when they would pass each other on these like long, drawn out, middle of nowhere prairies, and they would establish these common roads. They would tell the other one, "Hey man, just be mindful. That's Indian territory down there." Or, "If you look here, if you follow this path, there's a river. You can only cross it at certain times." Or, "There's plentiful vegetation of this," and we trusted one another.
Yeah. Merrill said, I bet But let me ask everyone in chat, if I came to you every day and told you how horrible you are and your music was, how would that make you feel?
Ooh.
Now, I tell everybody how amazing you are and how amazing your music is. How would that make you feel? I mean, she's saying we are an experiment. That's true. I mean, I think we live in a world that just wants to make, and it's getting worse. It wants us to discredit each other and not to believe in each other anymore.
Yeah, now.
Not to believe in humanity anymore. Not to believe in people who are doing real investigative work. Don't believe in these people anymore. I'm going to create a savior for you. Savior number one is everything the government tells you it's true. Believe me. Savior number two is coming. It's going to be in the form, or shall I say, savior number two was the infowebs. Anybody can get in there and put anything. Social media. If you dress nice and sound good, I can convince you of anything. Here's the newcomer, AI. Put all your faith in AI. But stop believing in humanity. There's nothing left for you there. That's the world we live in now. We live in a world of don't trust anything you see. Don't trust anybody who tells you they have years of investigative work in the field and they figured out some things. Don't trust that no more. You should only be concerned with the government tells you and our scientists tell you, because we have it 100% figured out. The Big Bang has exploded all of this life that's teeming everywhere. And now the Big Bang is no longer holding water.
Ain't that a bitch?
But we had it all figured out. Just by a mere glimpse is what Just Groove said. We just glimpsed at it and we got it figured out. Wrong.
You know what? Live smart now with your education and your know-all. Live smart now, just so you can become ignorant in the future. I just thought about that. That's a Moser saying right there. Live wise and smart now in the present to be well versed in knowledge in your ignorance in the future.
It's crazy times, people. And it's only getting crazier.
Groove says, if I can't even treat my own body with respect, foundation ain't that solid. Now is it?
Before we get out of here, we'll leave you with some contemplating music and let us know how it makes you feel. We on a special one today. Did anybody catch Get Jervis yesterday? I couldn't pull myself away from some of the things he was playing. I was like, oh, let me hear this out. Are y'all going to the Crazy Rabbits channel and listening to some of this stuff? I mean, this man likes to leave you on the edge, and sometimes he just likes to leave you with nice, mellow arps.
Yeah.
The Synth Samurai played alien music last night,
Which was one of my, see, that's my favorite shit.
I couldn't walk away from it. There's something to be said when you can't walk away from certain pieces of art here.
And don't get me wrong, I love you guys when you guys do your reviews of your jam boxes and you do all your shit. But what really tickles old Moser 505's fancy is when y'all play that music and you put on an alien mask and you look at the camera and you turn back and you get busy and you look at the camera while you vibing out. I love that shit.
Has anyone gone to listen to Just Groove create?
Jazz.
It's a beautiful thing.
He's constantly on jazz chords.
Have you went to Warheart Arts to see what
The comic books that he's doing.
to see what him and his wife are doing? That's some very interesting stuff. This world needs a hero. I just watched my first video, and I got to get through a few more just to understand what this person is doing. There's a lot of work out there that needs to be done. And these people drag you in because of what they play.
Yep.
And if you're there, you kind of get a sense of who they are from what they play. Go listen to Kent Spong and see how he makes you feel with his pieces. It gives you a feel for who he is and what he's about.
Scotty Sounds.
Scotty Sounds.
That dude is busy doing all kind of shit.
He's a patch-making god.
He's a freak of nature.
James Dyson.
Another freak of nature.
Upstate, downstate.
Which is still a dope ass name.
So many of you hear that, I come to your channel because you make me come. The feeling, the emotion, makes me come.
Some dude asked me, hey, yeah, you a musician? Oh, what do you like listening to, Motown? I said, sir, my musical taste and preferences are well beyond and far of what you know. Have you ever heard of a Machines One? You ever hear of a Uncle Chrome album? Huh? And they look at you funny. They have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. You know what a doom-monger is? Or an Apollo Hanzo? Peace out, y'all. We'll catch you tomorrow. Think about that shit. I mean, if there is a tomorrow.